bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
All right. Good evening, Fade to Black. Yeah. How you doing? Today is Wednesday, December 4th, 2024. Man, I can't believe we're already halfway through another week here on Fade to Black. What an incredible week it has been. And you can help support the show and all of our hard work that we do around here by getting yourself a Fade to Black t-shirt. We have 2 shirts, 2 ways to get them, 2 links below, 1 for shirts, 1 for a Game Changer membership. Everything is signed, everything is autographed, everything includes shipping. On Monday, we had Thomas Winterton of Skinwalker Ranch with us. Last night, Dr. Steve Eisenstadt. Tonight, Tom Dongo is here, Sedona and UFOs. And then tomorrow night, Sharon Comorn is with us. She's got a new film out called Alien Experiencers. And that will close out the week, sort of. Not quite. I'm going to say not so fast, everyone, because Friday night I am going to do a Peru and Bolivia recap special event right here on Fade to Black. I just got back from Peru this weekend and spent 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks down there. And yeah, I've got lots of video, lots of images, lots of stories, lots of research completed. What did I learn? What did I find out? What can I share with you? I'll share this. It was an amazing tour group that we had with us down there. I do a lot of tours. I go around the world a lot, as you all know. And this was the finest group of people that have ever been brought together. Had such a great time. Everybody was amazing and friends for life. We are now family. And so we're going to talk about all of that and much more with our Peru and Bolivia recap special event Friday night, this Friday, right here on Fade to Black. Now, I have 4 events coming up. Actually, I have 8, but here's the first 4 that are coming up for me. I've got the Conscious Life Expo. That is February 7th through the 10th, 2025, right here in Los Angeles, California, at the LAX Hilton. A full weekend of events. Yes, I am hosting again this year. I think this is my 11th year of doing so, which is an extreme honor and a privilege. Events going on all weekend long. Full schedule, everything, tickets, everything you need to know is at consciouslifeexpo.com. The links are below. Then, Rise of the Guardians. That is March 29th and 30th, 2025 in Tom Dongo's hometown of Sedona, Arizona. So this Friday with Rion, I am going to do a podcast with him on Friday. So I don't know if that's going to be live or if it's going to be taped. Either way, I will let everybody know what is going on with that. But it's going to be great. So that's the weekend of the 29th and the 30th of March, 2025 in Sedona, Arizona. Links are below. After that, Contact Modalities Expo. I keep saying this. I'm very excited. I'm heading back to the Midwest. And this is May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 2025 in Delavan, Wisconsin at Delavan Lake at the Delavan Resort. Absolutely beautiful setup. The links for that are below. Great, amazing list of speakers there. So your tickets and info are below. Along with Sedona, I am going to be doing a UFO Skywatch in Delavan, and you can sign up for that too as well. The links are below. Now, I'm going to Peru twice in 2025, okay? And the first tour coming up is the Inca Celebration of the Sun. Okay, now this is June 17th through the 27th, 2025. Yes, we're going to see all of Peru. We're going to go to Bolivia, but it is the solstice. So we are going to be at Sacsayhuaman, special seating, everything else for the amazing celebration that is going to go on there for the solstice. And you're not going to want to miss that. This is like a once in a lifetime event. And so that's my first trip. My second trip to Peru will be in November. You can head to hiddenicatours.com. The links are below to get signed up for that. The tour, the celebration of the sun is selling out. So I would love for you to go. Get signed up right now at hiddenicatours.com. The links are below. Okay. All right. I think that is all I have. I wanted to say, I'm just going to make this quick. The news over the last 24 hours has been pretty crazy. Now, I don't watch the news. I pick the news that I want to read and check out. I don't watch any live news on TV. I don't do it. And there's reasons for that, but I don't. But anyway, there are three things in the last 24 hours that were pretty nutty. First off, there was no alien invasion on December 3rd. All this hype. And I just kind of sat back and thought, well, I'm not going to say anything. If it happens, it happens. Let's see. You never know, right? You never know. Well, December 3rd came and went. No aliens, at least that we know of. You know, I was looking forward to, heading across the desolate plains of the United States, defending the earth from the aliens with my buddies and my Jeep. But I didn't get a chance to do that. That came and went. And then yesterday, South Korea imposed martial law. What's his name? President Yoon, kind of appropriate. And that was just nuts. And it just sent everything. I just thought the world is so crazy. And now we have this. Now that's all chilled out. We have that. And then I don't know if you guys saw this, but the assassination of the CEO of one of the healthcare companies, healthcare providers in New York. I don't want to get into that, but the video looks like something you would see in a movie. Like, that is some crazy. And I've watched it so many. I've read all the comments, and just amazing to watch something like that. So calm, cool, and collected, and to see that play out, because that looked like a scene from a Hollywood movie, and it was just, like I said, just a crazy 48 hours of news. And you are here to escape the news and to escape alien invasions. Well, we're sort of going to do that tonight, because Tom Dongo is here live from Sedona. And tonight we're going to be talking about Sedona and UFOs. I'm going to be heading over to Sedona in March. Very excited about this conversation tonight, because he's going to be sharing his research, not only of UFOs, but the paranormal and the activity in and around Sedona and the Bradshaw Ranch. Probably even get some Bigfoot in tonight as well. He's the author of 8 books. He's recognized as one of America's leading authorities of the paranormal, UFO, ET researcher, remote viewer, and over the course of many years, he has been a key lecturer at numerous U.S. national and international conferences, including the International UFO Congress. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black the one and only Tom Dongo. And he's right there. Tom, good evening, young man. How you doing?
Well, thank you, Jimmy. It's great to be back on your show.
Yeah, Tom, here's the thing. I'm going to start here, actually. When I've interviewed, as you know, but I've interviewed just about everybody that I've wanted to interview. A few got away from me early on. Right. And I just didn't have the Lloyd Pye, for instance. I never got a chance. Never got a chance to interview Lloyd.
I knew him well. He was a great guy.
Great guy, and very influential on me. Lloyd got away, but you know what? You didn't, young man. Yeah. And having someone like you on the show allows me to increase my knowledge, and I really appreciate that. And this community owes you a big load of thanks, and so I'm going to do that in advance. Thank you for everything that you've done over the years. And now I'm going to ask you a question that hopefully you've never been asked.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, you ready? You ready?
Yeah.
Are you holding on? Are you holding on?
Lay it on me. I'm ready.
Let's play the dating game. This is my version of the dating game. Tom, on our first date to Sedona, where would you take me to see some UFOs?
Yeah, I get asked that all the time. If you can find Road 525 that goes off into the desert, you go a couple of miles in that direction, and you can stop anywhere. That'd be a good spot. And look towards the mountains, Mingus Mountain. That's where all the activity has been. And you know that the activity around here lately has been red hot, UFO activities, and people are filming these things. A woman about a week ago took a video of a UFO over Thunder Mountain right beside Sedona. It was phenomenal. It was just an amazing shot. So it's for some reason, and I have no idea why, but is something going to happen or something like that? I don't know, but there's been an awful lot of UFO activity around here lately. And incidentally, Ross Coulthard, the Australian, he's going to do a special on the UFO activity in Arizona on News Nation this month. So it's going to be, I'm a big part of it. So it should be very interesting.
I had, now I'm going to share this little brief experience with you that I had in Sedona. And you're just going to go, yeah, that's Wednesday night in Sedona. Right. So, right. But I was up at the airport, right? And I'm up there with a couple of friends, you know them both. And so we get up there and we park and we're, right at the edge there and overlooking Sedona. Yeah. And we just got there, Tom, and I put my backpack on the ground and I unzipped it. I was pulling out like night vision or whatever, flashlights, battery, whatever I was doing. But my backpack is on the ground. And to my right, Sedona is to my left. I'm facing my car, but off to my right, I see this light. Yeah. And I turn around and I look, and Tom, not high, by the way. It wasn't very high. Right. A couple of thousand feet, couple of thousand feet is a white glowing disc. And it's coming straight for us, and it goes right over my head. Yep. Now it's a circle, right? But you can see the oval shape. Anyway, it goes right over my head, and I'm like, let me get my stuff unpacked, right? That's what I said out loud. Yeah, right. And we're all laughing, and I turn around and I watch this thing fly over Sedona, slow, by the way, just taking its time. Flew over Sedona and then disappeared over the trees and the mountains on the other side. Yeah. And I thought, welcome to Sedona, right? Here we go. Yeah, that's every night in Sedona, isn't it?
I've got endless stories about this stuff, but I had a partner in the tour business, and he just came home, and we were living right at the end of the airport. The north end of the airport, down below, and I'm looking towards Sedona, and I saw 3 white discs, flying right over Sedona, and so I ran to the door and I knocked on the door. I said, "Jim, grab your camera and come out." So he now this is the truth. I'm not making this up. So Jim gets a focus on these 3 UFOs, and I mean they're going less than 1,000 feet over Sedona. So they're coming straight forward for us, and a plane takes off from the airport and has to duck the lead UFO. We had it on film. We've got it on film somewhere. And it had to duck the lead UFO, which was a disc shape. It was a white disc. But we got that on film. Unfortunately, Jim died a few years ago, so he took all the film with him. So I don't have it.
Well, you don't have to, and I know you've got a lot of stuff that you've shot with both images
Yeah.
and video and motion stuff, but I think that most of us, I want your comment on this, that most of us get caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
And we're not thinking about pictures or video.
No.
You know, the moment is fleeting. It's fast. It's quick. It gets past us. And then you think after it's gone, oh man, I should have taken a picture. But that, and then I ask people all the time, well, did you get a picture? No. And I get that. I understand why. How many times, Tom, in your life where you didn't get an image, you just wanted to sit and watch it?
You know, you're never ready. You know, you think there was one time I was looking at something breathtakingly incredible. I had a camcorder in my hand, and after the damn thing was gone, I said I could have filmed that. You know, I looked at it and I didn't, and that's happened to me too. I was so gobsmacked at watching these things, I forgot a camera. So yeah, I know it's not uncommon around here.
Yeah. And the other thing, I can. It's probably been hundreds of times where I'm standing there with my cell phone in my hand, just to my side, and I'm just watching what's going on. It's only afterwards do you think. And here's the other point: even with the camcorder, you still have to click over to video. And by the time you do all of that, it's gone.
Yeah.
It would be the same thing with a camcorder. By the time you pull it up, power it on, you've missed it.
Yep.
So what's the choice? Well, the choice is you're gonna witness this and you're not gonna miss it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good that you brought that up. You know, these I would say the average sightings are 5 to 7 seconds. It's real fast. You know, and so yeah, I did UFO tours for quite a while, and now I'm pushing 80 years old, so I don't even go out in the field anymore. But I'm in the middle of a network of all the researchers around here, so I hear everything. And,
right.
So anyway, it's been phenomenal, and you're never ready for these things. That's the bottom line.
So yesterday, and I know that you were following this. Yesterday was December 3rd, right? Yeah. We were supposed to have some big alien invasion yesterday.
Right. Yeah.
Were you holding your breath?
No, I was just reading that. I forgot the guy's name, but you know, he's been pretty much debunked, I think.
I don't know who you're talking about, but I got so much email and text and leading up to it. Are you ready? Is this really going to happen, Jimmy? And tell me if I should prepare. I didn't respond or reply.
No.
Well, first off, you never know, right? Well, it could happen.
No,
right?
it's going to happen. Nobody will be ready for it. I get asked that all the time, and I say, you know what? It's completely at random. You can never. You know, say if somebody says something's going to happen, you can be sure it's not. So it's going to take you by surprise. Whatever it is, it's going to take us all by surprise.
Is the world ready? What do you think?
I think a good percentage are, but there's going to be some that are going to freak out. You know, it probably will cause big problems.
I want your take on this. With everything that we have with the media and AI and the ability to fake and hoax, which it's never been easier, right? And it's always been done over the years for sure, but it's never been easier. And so it seems that if the real thing happens, no matter how real it is, now we're going to have a chunk of people going, that's fake. Right. and that's part of the problem that we have with the amount of awareness that what comes with that is the ability to fake things. And people now, they don't know how to use discernment. They just immediately go, I don't believe it.
Well, at this point, everybody's confused, even us researchers. I saw a video the other day of a dog man coming around the side of a tree. And that was so real. I don't know how. I'm sure it was out of AI, but you know, and I looked at the fingers and every detail, the fingernails. I mean, it was perfect. But I know it was. You know, I assume things now are hoax until I can prove they're not. That's my attitude.
I have. Have you seen? I can't pull it up. I'm not ready for it. But have you seen all of the videos out there of fake Tom Cruise? Have you seen those? Have you seen any?
Yeah. Watch their lips. No, I haven't seen those. But the trick is, there's so many of these commercials that are on the internet. They're fake, but watch their lips. You got these famous guys, people like, I don't know, I can't. Well, at any rate, watch their lips. They're not saying what their voice is being recreated, and you watch their lips, and they're saying something else. I mean, that's so fake.
But it's getting good though.
Yeah,
some of that Tom Cruise stuff, and it's others, but for some reason, Tom Cruise seems to be the easy target. And I get it. But we all know what Tom Cruise looks like, right? Yeah. We're used to that. And I'm telling you, you have to really look at these to go, is that Tom Cruise or not?
Yeah.
And it's the silliness part of it that you realize that it's not Tom Cruise, but the ability to fake stuff now is only going to get better until it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been sucked into so many hoaxes. I won't. Unless I can prove it myself, I won't believe it. I'll assume it's a hoax until I can, because I've been sucked into some big ones, and so it ain't going to happen no more.
That reminds me. Probably, I'm going to go back. Let's see, we're in 2024, so let's go back to around 2010, like right in that area, and on YouTube appeared a UFO video over Santa Clarita, California. Now, Santa Clarita is the city next to me over here in the valley. I live in Palmdale. And but that was like the title of the video, I think. It was something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just of a ship cruising over a car like this on the street. Or maybe two, but they were really detailed, really cool. But you take a look at it and you went, okay, well, somebody created that, but damn, that looks fun, and that looks really, really cool. Then a video series came out from the creator of that. Now, this video got millions of views.
Yeah.
And he came out and gave a step-by-step process of how he made the video.
Yeah.
Okay. He's a special effects guy from here in California. And people didn't believe him.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I saw the video, Tom, and went, well, that's cool. Well done. I never for a second thought that it was real, but a lot of people did. Right. Yeah. And so he comes out with a step-by-step video on how he made it. Yeah. And that wasn't good enough. People are going to see what they want to see. Right.
Yeah. Well, I was involved in a hoax. I won't say his name, but he I was really in circulation then, around all the UFO conferences and all that stuff. So I had the video, and I showed some of the best researchers in the world, and they say, oh yeah, no, there's no way nobody could fake that emotion. Women were screaming and grabbing guys and running around, and it's about a ship that landed, and the aliens got out, and these guys were swearing every word you could think, and then they said, oh God, it's coming for us, it's coming for us. So they ran back to the house, and you could hear a thump on the roof, and so this guy whips out a 12-gauge shotgun and fires it through the roof. You couldn't see it must have been, you couldn't see the end of the barrel, so it's probably just a bang bang, but so the women are screaming, the guys are screaming, run into the bedroom, So then, and pretty soon another guy comes out with an alien body. I mean, this is so convincing. I had that video, and so anyway, and the women are screaming so hysterically. My friends, who are the top researchers in the world, said, "Oh no, there's no way they could have faked that," but they did. It was fake. Should I say his name? He's big in the UFO stuff now. He was.
Let's leave it alone.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Tom, let me jump in and just say this.
Yeah.
I have, like you alluded to earlier, I have seen more crazy with my own eyeballs, and I am happy with what I have seen. I don't need to see something else, right?
Me too.
Right.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I don't. If somebody's got a story they want to share, I listen to it because of I want the same respect that I give to others given to me. I have seen stuff, but what I don't do on the show, and I never will, is I don't crack on anybody.
No.
Too many of us are here for very, very personal reasons.
Yeah.
And if I become some shock jock show host that's out there talking smack and all of that, there's no value to that for this community. So I just don't do it. There's no reason to. I got enough bullshit that I can share with everybody that I don't need to bring in people. So yeah, and I'm sure you respect that.
Well, there's so many people, there's an element of truth about all this stuff, and the rest of it on both sides is BS.
Right.
So you have to pick out the real stuff and that's enough for me. I've seen it. I've seen the real stuff, and that's good enough for me. I don't care what whether aliens invade tomorrow. I've seen enough already. I had an extraterrestrial girl materialize behind me. And my girlfriend at the time, I almost knocked the girl down.
What happened? Wait. You've shared a lot with me over the years. I don't know if I've heard this.
No, probably not. I've got
Okay, let's go. Wait a minute. Okay, let's reset. Let's back the car up.
Yeah.
Alien girl materializes behind you.
Yeah.
Then,
well, okay, I'll start from the beginning. I had a girlfriend. We used to hike around here a lot. And I was looking for some Sedona petroglyphs, wall writings, wall drawings and stuff. And it had been raining and snowing hard, and the ground was about 6 inches of mud. You lift your foot up and you have 6 inches of mud on the bottom, and I was getting really tired. So I couldn't find the trail down to where the petroglyphs were. And the creek was roaring. It's normally a dry creek, but it was roaring. So I'm looking over at my girlfriend, and she was standing about 20 yards away. And this girl comes walking out of the trees. She had I think a red pants and a white wool sweater, and I'm going, and no dog. There's almost no crime here, but women, 99% of them have a dog with them. So, but no dog. And she was in a place where, a wool sweater and clean red pants and street shoes on, and I'm scratching my head. My sweaty old brain, was trying to comprehend this. So she goes over to my girlfriend and she's talking to her, and so I motioned the girl to come over to me. She wasn't real pretty. She was about Earth years, probably about 27 years old, but she could have been 500 years old. So anyway, she comes over, and I said to her, you wouldn't happen to know where the trail down to the petroglyphs is, do you? So she talked in a whisper. I had to put my ear right up into her mouth, and then she said, I didn't really understand what she said, but she pointed right to where I was standing, like that. And so I went over to look, and that's the trail. It's just it rained so much it changed everything. So I said, well, thank you. So we had hiking boots on, pretty serious hiking boots on. So we made it down there. It was probably 70 degrees. It was almost vertical, and it was muddy. So we got down there, and the creek is roaring, like the Colorado River flood tide, and so I'm looking at the petroglyphs, and the girl. I think I'm getting ahead of myself here a little bit, but I turned. Oh yeah, I remember now. So I turned around, and she was standing right there. If I had stepped back, I would have knocked her over. So I'm looking, and a second ago she wasn't there. So I'm looking back up this steep trail, and there's no possible way she could have made it down in street, nice dress up clothes and street shoes. Impossible. So, I'm trying to comprehend all this stuff. These things always happen when you're not ready for it. And I'm trying to think what's going on here. And so my girlfriend called to me, and the girl, the ET girl, she had to be an ET. I don't know what else she could have been. Well, she wasn't a ghost. I've had a lot of dealings with ghosts, and she wasn't a ghost. So anyway, my girlfriend called to me. I turned for 3 seconds to say something to her. I turned back, and the girl was gone. Poof,
What?
gone. Yeah, and she was, the kind of the funny thing about it. A lot of the stuff that the Sonowa Indians had left 1,000 years ago. The Sonowas have disappeared about 800 years ago. The whole bunch of them are gone. They don't know what happened to them, really. So, it could have been starvation. It could have been something disease. They don't know. But excuse me. So I'm looking. I could see for 100 yards in every direction, and she wasn't there. So, but a lot of the stuff. This is really getting out there. A lot of the stuff on the petroglyphs was sexual. Two people and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's what she was talking about. She was pointing to the sexual stuff, the drawings and the pictographs, which are at least 1,000, 1,200 years old at least. So I'm looking around. I'm so dumbfounded because I'm all sweaty. I've been trudging through mud for hours, and I'm trying to focus on this and think. What? So at any rate, I came to the conclusion that she had to have been an extraterrestrial. Because I have friends, I know people that I've interviewed that have had extraterrestrials, and it's usually like a blue haze, and then poof, they're there. These extraterrestrials, these people because I've interviewed hundreds of people. So anyway, that's my story. I think she had to have been an extraterrestrial.
Let me ask you about that for a second.
Yeah.
Because of the way that you have described it, look, you're a researcher, you understand, and you're in search of the knowledge in and around ET and what's going on there with the phenomenon. Mm-hmm. You have that, and then you have the paranormal stuff too as well. But throughout history, an experience like that from somebody that doesn't know what they're looking for or thinking about it, mm-hmm. could attribute it to just about anything. Yep. Fairies, zombie, ghosts, dead relatives.
Drugs.
Right. It could be anything. And does that tell you that possibly all of this may be connected?
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt about it. There's a lot of misconceptions, and my credibility is somewhere up around Mars. So I've been on, this is the 96th show I've been on for 10 years. And I've been in front of about 90 million people in the last, however long.
Right.
Used in the early years, I got attacked so much, I quit. I quit 3 times. I couldn't take it anymore because I just couldn't, put up with the attacks, the verbal attacks and stuff in magazines. Oh, he's a hoaxer, he's a fake, he's a liar, there's one story. But anyway, a national magazine, they sent one of the women, she came with a clipboard, she went to the fire department, the police department, the Chamber of Commerce, and naturally they thought she was going to be a nut. She thought she was a nut job, right? So they were asking about, well, do you think Tom Dongo really had this experience? Because something crashed on House Mountain between Sedona and Cottonwood. And House Mountain's an old volcano. It's a volcanic core. And something crashed up there. And it was either a secret military jet fighter or something, or a UFO. And I saw, we had attack helicopters flying at treetop level around here, one after another, loaded with missiles. So, there were about 7 of us researchers here at that time. So we were all scrambling around like crazy because these things, you got to grab what you can as quick as you can because the evidence is going to disappear fast. Right. We all knew that. So anyway, I saw a tractor trailer coming out from the area of House Mountain. I've asked truck drivers about that. It had a cover on it. The rubber was, if it was rubber, it was probably over an inch and a half, real thick, and it was covering something that was pointed things. So it was hauling out crap, wreckage. That's what it had to have been, wreckage. And my friend Claudia, who is a researcher in Cottonwood, she counted 14 attack helicopters on the ground on the other side of House Mountain. So, I mean, what does this stuff tell you? You know, you're trying to put it all together. And so then I got attacked. Everybody attacked me. Oh, the guy made it up. He's a liar. He's a hoaxer. He's a fake, you know. And you can only put up with that crap just so long. You say, you know, screw it. I'm done. And I did 3 times. But something got me back into it, another UFO thing. So I'm,
years ago, when I first, it might have been before my first Coast to Coast, but it was right in that area. And George Norrie, and as you know, I hosted that show for 7 years with George, and so George pulls me aside, and now. Remember, okay, I'm 61. Back then, I was probably my late 40s, like right in there, and which would have made George like 60 at the time. He's like 10, 11 years older than I am, but he always called me kid. All right, and it was endearing. I dug it, but anyway, so he pulls me aside. He goes, "Okay, kid, now I'm going to give you some advice. And please take it." I said, "Yeah, sure. What's up?" He goes, "Tom, on all that I love," this is what he says to me. He goes, "From now on, never read your email, never read social media, and never comment ever again." I was like, what?
Comment on what?
Just stay away. And I said, okay, all right, I'll do it. But why? He goes, "It'll ruin you."
Yeah.
And I took that advice, man. I don't. My Coast to Coast email that I used to have, whatever it was, Jimmy at coasttocoastradio.com. About a month into Coast to Coast, maybe 6 weeks, I never read my Coast email. George told me not to, right?
Yeah.
And the guy that ran IT for Premier Radio calls me up. He's like, "Jimmy, you haven't read your Coast email." I said, "I know." He goes, "You've got," I forget the number, Tom. It was crazy. He goes, 35,000 unread emails.
Yeah.
I said, "Delete the account." So I told him, "I'm not going to read it, man. I'm just not going to do it." And I think that's really, really good advice, because people are out there to throw you off the scent.
Yeah.
Right? To get you off of your game. You left it 3 times because of that. And, that's the goal for some of those people.
Yeah. Well, there's so many, I don't know, jealousy or what, but I call them, the S slingers, and they just want to start a fight. And when I was younger, I used to react to that stuff. And I know 2 guys that got into one of these fights. They were slinging crap back and forth each other for almost 4 months. And it was over Jesus Christ and Billy Meyer in Switzerland. It was, seriously.
Yep. I've been there.
Yeah, I could have ended that in 1 sentence. But these guys wouldn't quit. I'm right, and I won't say who they are, because you know who they were. You know who they are.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, they wouldn't quit. And I said, and I read, a friend of mine copied some of their emails. I said, "This is emails," and I said, "This is crazy. Why bother? I mean, it's just, it's not. It's useless information. So
it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time.
Exactly. Total waste. We have so little time to squander, and I don't do that at all now. Zero.
And now, can I have some fun with you for a second and ask some really cool questions that, for me personally, you said to me one time, and I believe it was off the air, but you had said to me one time, you said, "Jimmy, I was this close to the craft."
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so, when I say something like that, what comes to mind first, and take us through what happened and what did you see?
Well, I've seen so many UFOs. About 2 years ago, and where I live right here, I'm in Cottonwood now. I've been down here for 4 years. Cottonwood, is 10, 20 miles south of Sedona. First of all, I saw a UFO. It was a white hot ball of what like molten steel come down out of the sky at 50,000 miles an hour, and it landed in Sycamore Canyon. Sycamore Canyon is probably the strangest place on this planet. Sycamore Canyon. I mean, Bigfoot stuff, you name it. Military stuff. Some guy was riding a dirt bike, and these guys ran out and knocked him down and hurt him pretty bad. Stuck a couple of M16s in his face, and they had masks on. And they told him, get on your bike and go that way. This happened. This wasn't too long ago. So I mean, that's the stuff that happens around here. So anyway, yeah, Sycamore Canyon is an extremely strange place, paranormally. So So anyway, at any rate, I said, I don't want to see any more UFOs. I've seen so many. I've seen hundreds, maybe I estimate sometimes 400, especially on my tours, because I did UFO tours for 21 years. We had a tour company and we did all kinds of tours, but my UFO tours were so popular, I did a lot of them. And we had well, I get started on stuff. I never stopped, but I was out there one night. Well, okay, let me go to this. We saw a UFO land. Well, it didn't land; it was already down. But it probably got hit by a missile at 5 o'clock, and we all were watching it. It was 6 of us there. I mean, I had witnesses. People are, well, did you have witnesses? Yeah, I almost always do. So we're looking at it, and there were 3 very expensive cameras we had. One was movie quality. It was very expensive, and none of them would work. None of them would focus. None of them. So anyway, we're watching this thing, and it was about 50 feet in diameter, and this stuff happens a lot around here. So anyway, we figured it was about 50 feet. And it was about a quarter of a mile away. We were watching it with binoculars, and these lights were flying around it. At 5 o'clock, you could see it was a hole there. That part of the ship was gone. So these lights are flying around this thing. They were obviously repairing it. And you first think, is there somebody holding these lights? But they weren't. The lights were doing the repairing. And there was a blue light above this thing that was about a third of the size of the ship. And it was blue. It was an incredible blue color. And so my partner at the time, Jim, he had a new girlfriend. He wanted to impress her, right? So we're all going, no. But he had a 4-wheel drive, and he wanted to go down there and get close to it. So anyway, he did. We watched him turn off the road, because it's pretty much open down there. It's desert, and we could see his high beams going, bumping along. We got the binoculars. We told him, you're nuts, but he wanted to impress his girlfriend. So he got within about 100 feet of this thing, and she says, "I'm going to get out right here. You can let me out right here. I'm going back." So he turned around. But I have learned that these things, I've seen so many of them, when they start to pulse, they're getting ready to shoot, because something they're especially try to hit one of these things with a green laser close. A powerful green laser, they'll start to pulse, because the green laser is to that ship's defense system. It's an attack. It's a beam. So anyway, he turned around, came back, and we've been watching it. We can see the head. There's high beams down there, and so a friend of mine is a colonel in the Air Force. And I says, "Hey Ron, what do you think? Was it and he's really he's really into UFOs. So I said, do you think it was alien or one of ours? And he said, well, if it was one of ours, there'd be attack helicopters all around it and guys on the ground with machine guns. So he said it was. Now this is an Air Force colonel. And he said it was alien. So
that's a really interesting description about the balls of light repairing the ship. How long? Okay, well, two questions. How long did they repair it for?
Well,
and how close did you get?
Yeah, good point. We actually we had to leave about 10:30. We got there, I don't know, about 8 o'clock, and it was still going on.
Right.
But we couldn't, none of us wanted to stay there all night. And some people do. Oh, let's stay all night. But, I don't do that. I stopped doing that a long time ago. So when we left at about 10:30, it was still going on. Same thing. And nobody with Jeeps and machine guns showed up. It was all by itself. So
how close did you get?
About a quarter of a mile.
That's too close.
Yeah.
I might have. Well, see, I'm younger than you by a little bit. Okay, not by much.
No,
but I think I might have tried to. I don't know if I would have pulled the Travis Walton on it, but
yeah.
But I think were you close enough to see the surface of it? And make out any details?
No, but when they got close to it, it was surrounded with flashing red lights. And I had I got so many of these stories to tell.
That's why you're here. That's why you're here.
My mind's getting jammed up. But yeah,
Tom, you're the crazy uncle at the campfire right now.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I got everybody terrified. I'm famous for the Bradshaw Ranch.
Yes.
So I spent 4 years. We had a different camera crew out there every week from somewhere in the world. And, my book, Merging Dimensions, is all about the Bradshaw Ranch. It's a good seller. So anyway, I would come out, the stuff that happened with Linda Bradshaw and me, I've said only a handful of people on this planet have probably ever had the kind of experiences we had. They were so strange. So I spent 4.5 years, 2 or 3 nights a week on the Bradshaw Ranch. And I would usually leave about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was always tired, not in a good mood. And I just wanted to get home and get to Dad, But most of the time, there was a UFO waiting for me, sitting out there on the road. And a couple of shows did a reproduction of my experience, and Travel Channel did a really cool one. Let me tell that story before I get too far.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Yeah. So anyway, I've interviewed. I estimate 300 people have had abductee or contactee experiences, and so I know the whole abduction scenario real well. So anyway, I'm coming out of there, and there was a way off, and not too far away, but a big white ball of light sphere, and most of the time these the funny thing is, around here they're usually orange, the most of the UFOs around here are orange. Why, however that is, I don't know. But anyway, this white thing started following me, and it was in the trees. It was low, about maybe about the same level as my car. And I'm watching this thing going through the trees, and I said some. I won't re-say all the 4-letter words I said to that thing, but you ain't messing with me. Don't even try. So that was kind of the gist of it. So it left. It was an abduction scenario, typical. The white light coming through the trees, and pretty soon you got 4 hours of missing time.
Yeah, it was creeping.
Yeah, right. So it left. So I said some pretty choice 4-letter words to them, and they left. So I went. It didn't come back. So I go about. I was over by Doe Mountain. So I come around the corner, and here's a UFO, 50 feet across, and it's sitting there. It's going, I was going about 10 miles an hour, and it was going about 10 miles an hour. It would have met me right on the pass by Doe Mesa, Boynton Pass. It's called Boynton Pass. And so I stopped. I was dead tired. God could have appeared in front of me and it wouldn't have impressed me. So I got out, and I'm standing. Yeah, I'm standing in the middle of the road, And I in my mind, I said, I'm just not in the mood of this SHIT tonight. I'm just not. So it stopped. It had multiple flashing lights all around it. It was probably alien. I doubt that it was one of ours because we've got them. I mean, there's no, So anyway, I'm looking at this, and then it dawned on me they had been reading my mind all along, and they can do that. If you're
I'm looking at the spot right now on the map, and I see the curve on the road. You're coming down to like 89, right?
No, it's the dirt road. It's the
well, you're on the dirt road, but you're heading south. You're heading south.
No, it would have been north at that point by Doe Mesa. But Doe Mesa was in front of me. So I'm looking at this thing, and it stopped. And a million times I've thought, what if I'd have kept going? Because we would have met. And who were they? What they obviously didn't want to, hurt me, or they would have. But who were they? And a government, our people wouldn't do that. They would just do whatever they were going to do. They wouldn't, carefully come up and meet, on a pass, in Arizona. So a million times I've thought, what if I'd have kept going and met that ship? It was a beautiful ship. It had multicolored flashing lights all over it. Beautiful ship, about 50, 60 feet across. And it stopped. It hung there for maybe five seconds or so. And in a blink of the eye, it was gone over the horizon. So I'm sitting there, I'm standing there just gobsmacked, then I'm realizing that they'd been reading my mind all along. So, and then another time, I got to end the stories, when I do presentations, I've done a bunch of them, on stage presentation. I guess I tell the audience, just remind me if my mind wanders. So if I drift off into some Neverland subject, somebody say, "Hey Tom, you were talking about remote viewing or something like that." So
well, I'll reel you back in. Let me back up to were you able to make out a definitive shape? Did it go? Did it go from sphere to something else? Because remember, you're seeing.
Yeah. Well, it was about a 50-foot white sphere, but the ship that I saw by Doe Mountain was crystal clear. It was there. It was, it was nothing. It's probably that when they're powered up, they're surrounded by this orange or white or whatever. Because if you remember, he was famous. I can't remember now. He died about 10 years ago. Robert Short. He said he had one land in front of him in the desert down by Phoenix, and he got out and he talked to the being. The being got out, and he was pretty much human, but the being said, "Don't touch the ship," because Bob wanted to touch the ship, feel it, and the being said, "Don't touch it. You'll get hurt." So he didn't. But I've never touched one, but I was coming out of where I did my research, my UFO tours, and of course all of our camera equipment was put away in the back of the van. We didn't even have a snapshot camera. So we in the distance. His son saw it. If his son didn't see it, it would have flown right over us. We wouldn't have seen it because we were all talking so much. There was about 7 of us in the car. And I still know this guy. I mean, if I had to, I could call on him and say, "I need a witness. Would you, and he would." So anyway, his son was sitting beside me in my van, and he said, look at that. So we all looked. And this thing it wanted us to see it. And this thing was not from this earth. It was orange. And it was it was about 30 feet across, and it was composed of 3 orange ball spheres inside of it. So we got out, and this thing, if I'd have thrown a tennis ball, I could have hit it. And so it floated like a feather. I'll never forget this, as long as I live. This thing flew over us, and it floated just like a feather. Didn't make a sound. And then it went down towards Cottonwood. Got over Cottonwood, went up about excuse me, went up about 2,000 feet and came back down, and you could see it landing behind the trees. But I think it just shot off. I think it didn't land. It just shot off. And so that was so close. It wanted us to see it because at the time there was another UFO tour group, and it flew over them even closer. They were in Boynton Pass, and it flew right over them just like it did us. So this thing wanted to be seen, whatever it really was, but it was not from this earth. I mean, I know,
Why Sedona? Why Sedona?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because I don't know. I mean, I've been studying this for 50 years. This is a strange place. I mean, this is a mind-blowing, strange place of things that are going on. And the other day, Danny Sheehan, the lawyer, somebody told him, he was on the internet. Somebody told him about a couple of bases. And I mean, Danny wouldn't have said it if it wasn't, he could validate it. So, but somebody told him, and I'm thinking, who told him? But a couple of bases in Sedona that I didn't know about, UFO bases. And a friend of mine, a very, very good personal friend, he's in the CIA. He told me about one that I didn't know about, and he told me exactly where it is. And so I got another story I got to tell you. So anyway, I know that there's U.S. government and alien. There's been a bunch of shows done on them. And there's a tunnel that runs from, and a guy in Congress called up a friend of mine. She says, Tom Dongo is right, but he's got the wrong. It goes from Area 51 to Las Vegas to the Navajo Army Depot, the Secret Canyon, and all the way across right under the Bradshaw Ranch. And that show, Skinwalker, the new Skinwalker show. They did ground penetrating radar there, and they found it, the tunnel. They've got it on film. So that goes underneath, and it goes up to Jerome, and a new tunnel was drilled. And these things are big; they're about probably 50 feet, and it went up Verde Canyon. And I had friends up there that knew me at the time. They knew I was a UFO, weirdo UFO researcher. So they said this thing was shaking the houses for days. It went. They could hear it. They could feel it coming, and it left. And the closer it got underneath their houses, it was shaking the houses. There was about 15 or 20 of them up there. So,
well, I think the point needs to be made, Tom.
Yeah.
That we only have one night sky.
Yeah.
Okay. There's only, as far as I know, there isn't two. Right. There's only one night sky.
Yeah.
And you guys aren't that far from Flagstaff.
No.
Right. But the stuff is happening over Sedona.
Right. Exactly.
Right. You don't get these reports out of Flagstaff or Phoenix. Well, we got the Phoenix Light. Things are seen, but not like it is in Sedona. We have the same thing out here in California with Joshua Tree. Right.
Yep.
And Joshua Tree's not that far from my house. We share the same sky, right? Now, I see crazy stuff out here in the desert. I do, and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's nothing like Joshua Tree, and it's the same thing. Flagstaff, they see stuff in the sky, but it's nothing like Sedona, which is just right up the road, isn't it? It's strange. And so I know Sedona's beautiful. It's a great place to visit. The colors, I mean, it's majestic, but there's something else going on there, and I just don't know what it is.
I think it has to do a lot with magnetism because the red rocks are magnetic. The red is rust. I mean, the red rocks are rust. But you scrape a red rock and underneath it's white. So, and it's that they're all magnetic, not really strong magnetism, but they're magnetic. So, the only conclusion I have is that it must have something to do with that, because that's it really, as far as I know, is the only real difference of any other place in Arizona is the red rocks. So it's got to have something to do with that, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to be out there in March, as you know. Are you going to come hang out with us March 28th and 29th?
Yeah, I'll be here. Sure.
Yeah, the Rise of the Guardians. And I want to arrange a sky watch. I know all of them just like you do. and it's kind of tough to pick somebody to take us out for that night because I'm friends with everybody. But one thing's for sure, Sedona doesn't disappoint any night of the week, does it?
Well, yeah. Well, there's times when it's we've just come off a dearth of years. It's nothing's happening, but it goes in spells, and every different the new thing is always different from the last one. The new flap is always different. So I don't know. I don't. I've been studying this for 50 years, and I don't know what it is. I really don't.
Somebody just said in here, Carl says the alien base is at the golf course. Does that make any sense to you?
Well,
there's got to be a lot of golf courses out there in Sedona. There's a lot of money in Sedona.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's talking about. I don't know. I wouldn't agree with that.
Okay. Carl, elaborate on that. I would love to get a
location.
Tom's impression of that. Tom, let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight, Tom Dongo. We are talking about UFOs in Sedona. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button right now. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and get the Fade to Black official podcast. 2,000 episodes, all of them commercial free for just $2 a month. Watch Into the Vortex on Gaia TV. It's Fade to Black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? How you doing? Jimmy Church here. Special announcement. Get your Fade to Black t-shirts. That's right. Help support the show. Help support everything that we do over here. We've got 2 t-shirts. We've got 2 ways to get them. Get your Fade to Black t-shirt today. Go Berkeley Tappy. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut. River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com. All right. Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, our guest is Tom Dongo, an amazing UFO researcher and a resident of Sedona, Arizona for over 30 years. And tonight, we are talking about UFOs over Sedona. Now, Tom, Carl just, I'm sorry, I hit, everything shook. We're not having an earthquake. I kicked my desk. Carl just replied and said it was the Seven Canyons golf
Oh,
course.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just did a thing on that, and because I was hired. Well, I'll tell you what it is. The developers that bought Long Canyon wanted to develop it, and they were having all kinds of problems. Bad luck was happening constantly to them. And these guys were multimillionaires, and they hired me because I was a pretty well-known psychic at the time. I just did a thing on the internet about this, and I got a heck of a lot of comments about it. So anyway, they paid me for a day and gave me a helicopter, and yeah, I know what he's talking about now. So the one of the owners had a brand new Lincoln Continental. This is how weird stuff gets sometimes. Brand new Lincoln Continental. You know, it was a very expensive car even then. You're driving out of Long Canyon. He's going down the hill. He's probably going pretty fast. Most of these guys do drive too fast. The steering locked up on the Lincoln Continental, and it rolled over 7 times. He did cut his hand, but not bad. So brand new Lincoln Continental rolled over 7 times. And then there were this other thing that happened. There were witnesses to this. I talked to them. There was an Indian on a white horse that rode by these people in the canyon, and it was kind of ghostly, and then it disappeared. They all saw it. So it was, you know, it happened. So now Long Canyon has been completely developed, and they have, you know, 1 million gallons of water a day, prehistoric water a day, watering these golf courses. And I filmed, I think 5 orbs coming out of the ground in Long Canyon. I photographed them from the helicopter. And so it's pretty good stuff. I mean, I just had it on the internet, and you know, of course I got the naysayers, you know, oh, they're just specks of dust, you know, and I said, well, yeah, okay. So I was in a helicopter going about 80 miles an hour. I had the window open because they'll all say, well, there were reflections in the window. So I had these things off, you know, so as I kind of head off the criticism. So, and I had the window open. We were going about 80 miles an hour, and the down blast from the rotors was probably about 300 miles an hour. So that quotes this guy's. They were just specks of mica. You throw some dirt in the air and photograph it, and that's what you're going to get. That's what orbs are, and they're not. Orbs are oh, here I go again. But some of them are living creatures. Linda Bradshaw and I proved that orbs, some of them are living creatures. And they used to follow Linda. She's got them videotaped. We finally got a camcorder, and she photographed. Just turned the camcorder behind her, and she videotaped these orbs. They were about 6 or 8 inches, following her. So they're intelligent. They have it. And somebody, I think in Michigan, studied these, and he said that they have the intelligence about that of a dog, and I agree with that. So you know, it's.
Well, do you think that there's a, you know, to say alien base is taking things into another direction? Do you think that is a possibility?
Yeah. Yes. There's when the Ross Coulthard was here, they brought some researchers with them, and a lot of it was in the middle of the summer, and it's so hot here, you really can't do much. It's just, you know, the heat is too much. You know, it's 105 or 110 degrees. You can't do much. So anyway, they really didn't get very far. But there were 4 police officers from Clarkdale got into one of these, into separate things. Two. They got into one of these, and I don't like to call them bases. I'd rather call them installations, because they're not really bases from what I know. But some of them, I think some of them are U.S. military, and some of them are shared by aliens and UFO. It's just been my research, you know, a knowledge that this is. But at any rate, these police, and a friend of mine, he was a retired CIA agent. He interviewed them, and so and I know the spot. Well, you know, not exactly, but they put a mark on a map where this was. So they were going along. They found an open manhole, an open manhole cover in the desert. And so they said, "Well, this is pretty interesting. They saw a ladder going down in there, and they got down there, and there was tunnels going, in multiple directions, and they went in a ways, and they said suddenly it was swarming with U.S. military with machine guns. So they were told, you guys turn around, go back, and you go back up the ladder and forget what you saw. That's always what they say, Mm-hmm. But anyway, my CIA friend interviewed them, and the interesting thing, there've been about, I call them machine gun incidents around here. There've been about 35 where hikers were stopped by different, like U.S. excuse me, U.S. military type in U.S. uniforms, current UFO uniforms, but with no insignia on them. There's never any insignia on them. And some of these were orange suits. And a friend of mine, at the time, I knew a number of colonels, active duty colonels, and they say the only time they wear orange is when there's an aircraft in the area. So I'm thinking, there's no way even a helicopter could have got back in there. But in one case, and I actually interviewed this guy. I used to have to go my second or third person. Rare that I actually ran into the person that had the experience. So he said that he was in Long Canyon, and way back, some of these canyons go back 6, 7, 8 miles. And these guys were blocking the trail. It was a hiking trail, pretty well used hiking trail, and they were carrying M16s. And so this guy, my friend was a little obstinate. He says, no, I'm going that way. This is public property. I'm on a national forest, and we're going that way. And the guy stuck the M16 right in his face and said, "You take one more step, and I'll pull the trigger." So that that convinced him. I would have turned around too at that point. But
yeah,
said,
for
no.
sure.
Yeah, he said, "No, I'm going that way." Then the guy stuck the machine, stuck it right in his forehead and said, "You take one more step, and I'll pull the trigger." And he probably would have. It
seems that you've heard the same things I have. That Sycamore Canyon, there's something going on there, and the further you go up Sycamore Canyon, the more trouble you're probably going to get into.
Yeah. Well, even to this day, I tell people if they go into Sycamore Canyon, don't go alone.
Right.
Because there's back in about 1885, the Basque sheep herders would drive their sheep through Sycamore Canyon to get to Flagstaff. That was the easiest route. And they said so many giant, hairy men stole so many of the sheep, they stopped. They refused to, go through, drive the sheep. So they built a route for them, another route in another canyon. So. But so that's Sycamore Canyon. It's a beautiful canyon. I mean, it's got a creek in it. It's 3 times as big as Oak Creek, and it's all spring fed. The deeper you go, you come to the last spring. It's 3.5 miles in, and it's all rocks from there. It's just rocks and poison springs. The government's got signs all around, and these are poisonous springs, and don't come any further. But the ones that are before that are crystal pure. You can drink right out of them. The ones at the beginning of Sycamore Canyon.
When I'm out on my Harley and I encounter other people out there, I talk to everybody, and some know who I am, some don't. But I always ask for fun and crazy stuff to go and explore.
Yeah.
And I was now check this out. So I bump into a guy, we're alone, and he's got a Jeep. And I tell him I have a Jeep too. I was on my Harley at the time. I said, I've got a Jeep too. And I said, I'm always out here, just trying to find fun stuff to go and see. And he goes, I do the same thing. And he goes, as a matter of fact. So I'm not going to give away the location of this on the air. I don't want to do that. But this is what he says to me, Tom. He goes, there's this spot. It's about 30 miles from here. Mm-hmm. And it's a tunnel that you can drive your Jeep into for about a mile into this mountain, underneath the mountain. and the tunnel was dug to go through the mountain and come out on the other side, but it never got finished. I said, what? Right. You got my attention. Okay. He said, man, so you could drive. I said, is it haunted? He goes, man, people go in and don't come out.
Yeah. Right.
I said, it's a tunnel. He said, it's 1 mile. It's 2 lanes.
Wow.
Underneath this mountain. And so stuff like this is all over the place, and you've got to ask the locals. You're not going to hear about this, and is the military involved? What was the purpose of it? Why didn't it get finished? It seems pretty creepy and fantastical at the same time to me. But there are locations like this around this country, and it's worth checking out, but just don't do it alone. That's the I'm not going to be alone in my Jeep and drive into a tunnel that's going under. No, you go with a friend and you take somebody with you, whether it's Sycamore Canyon or anything else. You don't do this stuff alone, do you?
Well, I've said, I've always been known, when I was younger, I was always known as being real reckless. And, I've always said I hunt them on their turf, and I have alone too. And I've had some real close scrapes with things, but I've never been hurt. And I tell people that, I've been in these things, and in places that would scare the hell out of other people, but I hunt them on their turf. That was just my way. So I've learned things that were, incredible. That but I did it the hard way, and I took a great risk. But I was always okay.
Okay, so let's stay on this for a second. How, in your opinion, or have the craft changed over the years and their approach to what you're seeing then and what you're seeing now? Because if we go back, and I'm asking for this reason, Bob Bradshaw had one of the most incredible sightings ever, but it was also like his only, where he says, and you can tell the story. I'll do the short version. He's out on the property at the Bradshaw Ranch, comes over, they sees something. I think he said apple trees. I could be wrong, but right. He comes over the hill, and in the apple trees is a friggin' flying saucer sitting there on his property.
Yeah. And
that's how he described it. Flying saucer. He went back to his house and never came out again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I was because I knew Bob well.
Right.
And Bob was basically a redneck Arizona cowboy. I mean, that's what
he was a Hollywood stuntman. He was a man's man, right?
Yeah, and a carpenter. Yeah.
Well,
he doubled for some of the best, Elvis Presley, and he was a double for these guys. But so anyway, he was not into Linda and I were devoted to this stuff. So anyway, what happened with Bob is you had to know him like I did. But a UFO, a disc, came over the hill above the ranch, and it was surrounded by about 50 orbs, white discs. I mean white spheres, and it landed in the apple orchard. And so so Bob saw that was enough for him. He went in the house, and Linda used to go in and get him and say, "Bob, you've got to come out and see this." He wouldn't. He'd stay in the house and watch TV. No, he'd stay in the house and watch TV. She asked him many, many times, "Bob, you've got to come out and see this." He wouldn't come out.
So whatever he saw, right?
Yeah.
Freaked him out enough where no. And that's shouldn't that be testimonial enough for most people? Because like I said, Bob was a cowboy. He owned a ranch. He was a Hollywood stunt man. What was he scared of? He cheated death many times in his life, right?
Yeah, he probably did. Yeah. Well, some people, I try to explain things to some people. I can tell just by the look on their face, they can't even comprehend what I'm talking about. So, there's a degree of people like that. And so if it seems pointless to me, I don't bother, because I'm wasting my breath.
Right.
The skeptics. I've said long said that the only thing a skeptic will stop being a skeptic and be a believer when they see something that changes their mind. That's it. Bottom line. Period.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And so I'm sorry, I forced the the conversation. That wasn't you, that was me. But how have the craft changed over the years, or have they?
Yeah. Well, I've been told. Let me adjust this a little bit. Yeah. Up, late.
No, you're good. You're solid.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
But I've been told by government people that our government has a weapon now that can shoot down any UFO. So as a result, it's a sonic, evidently a sonic weapon. So that's really changed how UFOs, how close they get to us. I'm glad that I was in on it early on, that I saw all the stuff that I did, because it's changed now.
Well, how so? So you're saying that ET has changed their way that they deal with us because they know we have technology that could screw up their plans?
Well, I've never thought of that really, but I know they've been shot down because when Colonel Wendell Stevens was one of my best friends, and so was Bob Dean. You know who those guys were?
Of course.
Yeah, and they told me stuff that, especially Colonel Stevens, he I got so many things on my mind, but they talked. Bob Dean talked about this stuff because I used to sit with Bob Dean. Lucky me. Every UFO researcher in the world would envy me over this. I used to sit with Bob and smoke cigars with him on his front desk. His front porch. I used to go over and Bob smoked these cigars, these foot-long cigars. They're about 2 inches thick. You got to suck on them for about 5 minutes before you got any smoke on them. But that's what he smoked. So anyway, Bob Dean told me a lot of stuff, and there was some stuff he never told me that he knew about. But these guys, Colonel Stevens, he was with Billy Meyer, and he talked about the stuff that the Pleiadians did, and he wasn't lying. I've studied. My thing has been human extraterrestrials. I studied them for about 40 years, and there's more than one or two. There's a lot of them. I estimate there's about 17 races of human extraterrestrials coming and going on this planet, and probably around 100 humanoids. Now, it's my estimate. I could be completely wrong, but just from my experience, that and they're here now.
Would we know? If I was walking down the street,
yeah,
would I recognize, or are they able to blend in?
Well, I think there's a new thing that's going around. They might be shapeshifters. They're able to shapeshift. So sure. I'm thinking, well, yeah, that may be, because I've been told some stories from my friends, researchers, and it sounds like they're shapeshifters. So how would you know? You wouldn't. I was born with a pretty awesome remote viewing technique. Excuse me. So Joe McMoneagle, he was the top remote viewer in the government. I think Joe's still alive. I don't know.
Yeah, he is.
He is. Yeah. Okay, good. So anyway, I love to tell this story on. There's been so many times I thought I was crazy. I've got to be crazy thinking this and do it, and then I would be proved right after a while. So I was standing with Joe McMoneagle in a group at a UFO Congress, and I had been doing this thing, going out on alien spaceships and visiting with them. I've got to be nuts. I've got to be crazy. This can't be. So Joe McMoneagle was talking about him and the government's top remote viewers were doing the same thing, and I'm going, I'm not crazy. I'm really not crazy. So he I have a very different Maureen St. Germain and I taught remote viewing for a couple of years, and she's busy doing other things. I just don't have the energy to do it anymore, pushing 80, you know. But Joe, I get a kick out of telling this story. So if you remote view an alien spacecraft, and there are hundreds of them out there in orbit around the Earth, some of them are way out there, but they're not hard to find. So I would go up to an alien spacecraft out there, and if you got close to it, and it, you know, you got warned to stay away. You know, don't come any closer. Well, you don't. You know,
so they know, they can tell if you're remote viewing them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Wow.
they'll say another damn human. You know. No kidding. So anyway, so Joe McMonigal, they warned him, stay away, don't come any closer. So he went on the ship. He went in because you can go right through because you don't have a body. Your body's back down here. You can float right through the side of the ship, go in the ship and look around. You know, they never have right angles. That's all rounded. The ship is all rounded, and everyone I've been in, I don't do it anymore. I'm not interested in it. But anyway, Joe and they grabbed him, and I'm thinking, how could anybody be so dumb, you know, as advanced as he is? And they grabbed him and put him in a box, a glass cage, and it wouldn't let him out. Scared him to death. You know, he did 2 tours in Vietnam. He got shot up real bad. But he said, this scared me more than anything I've ever done in my life. So you know, his body was down here, but the rest of him was up there in a spaceship somewhere a million miles out. And they wouldn't let him go. I said, yeah, that would scare the hell out of me too. So I would do that. You go up, and I taught I was taking a whole audience one time, about 150 people. I said, you guys I'll just tell you how to do it. You want to do it? You know, go remote. You know, they weren't remote viewers, but I said, I'll tell you how to do it. And some of them, the look on the shock look on their face, I'll never forget it. It was so, I mean, they were like this, you know.
Right.
So they did it. I mean, they really did it. So anyway, Joe, they finally let him go, and he came back. Back to his body. But I was on one time. Most of these are humanoids. They're millions of years ahead of us, and some of those they regard us as ants. Just know, you know, about the level of an ant.
Well, they would have to.
Yeah,
they would have to. I mean, take one look at me and compare me to an ET that's I'm like a germ.
Yeah.
I'm a one cell amoeba.
Yeah.
Right? I'm mitochondria. I'm just, why interact with somebody like me? It wouldn't make any sense. You know, you might as well just walk down a sidewalk and look down at the ground and try to teach a blade of grass, you know, how to drive a car. You're not going to pull that off. And so, but there must be, to your point though, there must be also alien species out there that are closer to us.
Yes.
Right? We are very close right now to being interstellar, officially interstellar.
Yeah.
We may be secretly, but I mean, like in official sense, we're getting really close to understanding how to go faster than the speed of light and get out there to the stars.
Yeah.
And so a race out there that would be equal to ours, you know, just a more advanced, they would get here, maybe understand where we are, right? And we would be able to communicate with them. I think that's very close to happening.
Well, the ones that are, you know, the human extraterrestrials, most of them look so much, they look a little bit oriental, the ones that I know about. Other than that, they could walk down the street. You wouldn't know. But I think there are about 5 races of human extraterrestrials that are doing everything they can to help us. And the rest of them couldn't care less. They said, well, it's a free will planet. You want to blow yourselves up, have at it, you know. That's pretty much their attitude. But I was on a alien craft, and this being was at least millions of years ahead of me. You know, when I used to do this, they'd all look up. They'd say, "Oh, another damn human." They could see me. So Sounds exciting. I don't know. It gets boring after a while. I haven't done it in years. But
Well, but I mean, hold on.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point. The ability. Why would, if ET is studying us and coming to this planet, then they know what freaks us out. You know what freaks us out? Yeah, an alien with 8 arms, right? Right. That would freak us out. So they know that.
Yeah.
So they would appear as something that wouldn't freak us out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just going to start shooting.
Yeah. And we would. There's been, us Earth humans are trigger happy. We shoot first and ask questions later. And so a lot of ETs won't have anything to do with this because they know they're going to get shot at right away.
For sure.
Yeah. But, so I went on this ship and it was a humanoid. I mean, it had one head, 2 arms, 2 legs. And, and so I said, back then I could read minds. I went to the Berkeley Pyschic Institute and I found out I had some pretty amazing psychic abilities. So one thing, I got in a bad car accident about 15 years ago. So I lost a lot of stuff because I had a bad head injury. So I went up to this one extraterrestrial. I know it was millions of years ahead of us. And I said, hey, do you mind if I probe? Do you mind if I probe your brain? So and he said, yeah, sure, bud, have at it. So I did, and I penetrated. It was hard penetrating. It used to be I could penetrate somebody's brain. It was like going through layers of onions. Thump, 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 and you get in the middle of their brain. I've done this many, many times, and then you know who they are, what they are, whether they're lying or telling the truth or whatever. I can't do that anymore, but I used to be able to do it. So anyway, I'm looking at this alien, and so I did. I tried to penetrate. I got into maybe the first layer of its brain, and it's just stood there patiently. Said, "Yeah, go ahead, bud, take a look." So, but I got a sense, because I could see, enough about it. So it gobsmacked me. I mean, these things that are millions of years ahead of us, we have no comprehension.
Well, what gobsmacked you?
Well, I got a little bit of a feeling of how they live and what because they create everything with their brains. They don't do anything with, they're not laborers. So and by the way, I used to talk to extraterrestrials, and not too many people talk about this. Maybe they don't, but most extraterrestrials don't. They have a language, but most of them, they communicate with each other by projecting pictures. A picture has 1,000. A picture is like 1,000 words. Well, that's what they do, because they would do that with me. And I would say, no, wait a minute, this is too complex for me. Send me something simpler. Then I could understand what they were talking about. Like, I usually couldn't see them, but I could, trade pictures. Well, they sent me pictures. I didn't know how to send them pictures. So anyway, they could say in 10 seconds what a normal being would take 5 hours to say. Because they could do it bang, just in a one picture, and you get it, us humans could have the capability.
How do you digest it?
Yeah, that's the hard part. You have to learn how something in your subconscious learns. I don't know what, but it's the way it is. I mean, we humans, we have abilities, because I can see them, as a remote viewer.
Well, hold on, Tom. Yeah. I'm going to keep you focused. Okay, I'm going to keep you focused. Yeah. Does it come to you in a big package and then you digest it later?
No.
Or how do you understand a big download?
No, you get a picture, bam, and it's like you having a 5-hour conversation. You got the whole thing in seconds instead of going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It's just, you got it. You got the whole picture that would normally take, maybe hours to talk, to explain, but you got it bang, just like that. But your subconscious has to learn how to interpret that or digest it or whatever. So, they're a lot of them think we're so stupid. They're not, we're not worth bothering with. And that's their attitude. because we don't try to learn, the stuff out of our normal day-to-day thing.
There's a new TV show out.
Yeah, I heard about it.
I know you haven't seen it, but
no.
It's called It's Florida, man. Okay,
Oh, no,
it's on don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's anyway. That show, it's on Max. That show, you watch that show, and it's all true stories, right? You watch that show, and you fully understand why ET doesn't give a shit.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now. I'm just telling. It's like I get it. I get it. And it seems that Tom, that probably 2,000-3,000 years ago,
yeah,
we were a lot smarter than we are now.
Exactly. That's my opinion. We've lost so many of our abilities. That we had, years ago. Probably we were all, and I wish the hell I could teach. I've tried to give it away. Some people, there are people around that charge $5,000 to teach remote viewing. I've tried to give it away to millions of people on some of the shows I've been on, because I want to create. And don't contact me now, because I ain't doing it. I'm not going to do it.
Right. Okay.
No,
okay.
I'm not doing it. So, but I wanted to create. I wanted to create millions of remote viewers, because, there's no secrets. There's no lying. If you're really good, I mean, you instinctively know when somebody's lying or what's right and what's wrong. So I really have tried to teach my method, because myself and Maureen St. Germain, she taught the military. She's
great. I love her.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, I mean, you sit next to Maureen St. Germain while she's talking. She's an awesome person.
I think I proposed marriage to her maybe a half a dozen times.
Yeah.
Turned down. She turns me down.
Yeah.
Gently. She's just amazing. She understands what it is to be human.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she's got a knowledge that's she's learned it, but she's instinctual. I mean, because I would listen to her. I'd be sitting right beside her, because I could feel her energy. There was some kind of a message
100%.
in her. Yeah, her energy. Her energy is different. And because God, I can't get into it tonight, but I used to teach auric fields. I used to teach people about auric fields. And the strong part of our auric field goes out about 1.5 feet, 2 feet. So I was in her auric field, and it was being that close to Maureen St. Germain was quite an experience. I mean, it was wonderful.
She glows. She legitimately glows. She glows.
Yes, exactly. Better terminology than I use. Now, in the time that we have left, Tom, if you don't mind,
we mentioned alien abductions earlier in the show, and it seems that I don't think alien abductions have stopped, but the methodology has changed somewhat.
Yeah. They're not doing it like they did with Barney and Betty Hill. It's different now.
How so?
Well, I have to think about that for a second. Is the government involved, or are they not? I mean, that's the big thing. Is our government behind a lot of these, or are they not? I'm not sure. But if you really get into the alien abductions, there's something strange about it that I can't pinpoint. Oh, I gotta tell this story. When I was on Coast to Coast, Connie Willis is one of my best friends now. She's been on Coast to Coast for 10 years. And so Connie, I was on Connie's show, and I said, Connie, I've got to talk about this. This kind of ties in what you and I were just talking about. I said, she said, well, she hemmed and hawed like she didn't want to do it. So I said, no, Connie, I've got to talk about this. So there are people that have emailed me, said, I've seen all the Art Bell shows and all the Coast to Coast, and yours was one of the best. So I'm going, I'm really flattered. Well, that's cool, man. I just, I'll take it. So anyway, I said, Connie, I've got to tell this story. She said, okay, go ahead. So The missing 411, Paulides, David Paulides. So I have the ability to, hundreds of thousands of people disappear around the world every year, but it's getting more so in the national parks. And I've been told that some of the national parks, that people go with children. They say, keep the children in front of you. Don't let them walk behind you. And the reason is that they just poof, they're gone, and they're gone forever. This happens. Happens, too often. So, me, I want to know what the hell's going on. That's my whole motivation for everything I do. I want to know what the hell's going on. So anyway, I was, let's make a longer story short. In the missing 411, there was a deer hunter. They knew where he disappeared. So I was able to find that spot and see that when I was at the Berkeley Psychic Institute, everybody you talk to, they have like a rope between you. It's an energy, and you can follow that rope. So it looks like a rope. I get started on this. I'll be on this all night. But so anyway, I found whether this guy disappeared, where they grabbed him. So I started following the energy trail. The guy asked me once on a show, did you go up or did you go down? I said, well, that's a good question. So you go up. So I was trailing this deer hunter, following the energy trail he left. And I was going up very fast, extremely fast. And then something slammed on my brakes. And I heard a voice that said, this is as far as you're going to go. I say, oh, and so I'm looking around. And General Stubblebine, you know who he was, right? Oh, he is, yeah. So anyway, okay, I get on these tangents. So anyway, I was at, I learned how to get this. There was a block in front of me. I learned early on how to get through it. Because when General Stubblebine was in Denver with all the best remote viewers in the world, he said, none of our remote viewers know how to get through this block when it's put in front of us. But I said, I do. And I wanted to raise my hand, but I didn't. So anyway, I'm standing there looking in front of this, wherever I am, looking at this block, and I'm thinking, I can get through that. And the voice said, don't even try it. So I'm thinking, about 10 million people on that prime time on Coast to Coast, heard me say this. So I said, okay, what is it on the other side of that block that they did not want us to see? They want any of us. So what is it? Is it more wonderful that we can imagine or more horrible than we can imagine? What is it? I wanted to know, but I wasn't going to, go through that wall because, the voice said, don't even try it. So I might be a little dumb, but I'm not stupid, So anyway.
Well, and I get that. And I often wonder, because we have situations like, Calvin Parker and of course Betty and Barney Hill Travis Walton, and where this is something physical. It goes back to George Van Tassel, and so forth, where it's something very, 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 very physical.
Yes.
This is a physical situation.
Yes.
Where today it seems that the methods of doing it have changed. I feel I've interviewed so many people that have seen the inside of a ship, but it's not, your car is pulled over on the side of the road and you're removed from the car and you're floated into it's not that kind of situation, but they are still occurring today, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, not at the level they used to. One thing I have trouble with, by the way, people don't contact me because I used to get 50 texts a day, and I can't do that anymore. But oh gosh, now I forgot what I was going to say.
Talking about alien abductions.
Yeah. No, I totally.
Well, okay, so let me give you an example. This is me personally.
Yeah.
So I get regressed on my TV show last year. by Sarah Beskman Cosme. And I went into that regression on camera, right? Not having any boundaries. And I trust Sarah. I don't know what's about to happen, but I told her, let's just go. Let's see. So we go, and Tom, I went under just like that. I didn't know if I could be regressed on camera. All right. With production and all the people there and everything, but I did anyway. I revealed, you have to see it, I don't want to get into the details. I revealed that I went onto a craft. Now, I don't know anything about this. I have no memories of this or anything else, and I was on this craft for 5 seconds. 5. And I looked around the craft and I said hello and bye, boom, I'm back on the ground.
Yeah, right.
Now, as crazy as that sounds, and I realize what it sounds like, I understand. I'm now the person that I interview, right? It's like, oh no, I don't want this. But nonetheless, now that memory that I didn't have before is unlocked. I see it clear as day. I see everything as it happened. Now, is that an abduction? I kind of, in a weird way, I would say yes. I went back and I asked the people that I was with during this incident, and they all said they didn't see anything. I didn't leave, right? Yeah. So, was I just standing there like a zombie looking up at the sky and then I was shown something? Or was I split in half? Was I I don't know. I don't know. But it seems that I didn't ask for it. Right? Makes sense, right? I didn't ask for it.
Yeah, there are things we can't understand. We don't have we don't have the intellect for it. But it's there. It's real.
Yeah, I can't. I've thought about this so much. Yeah. You know how embarrassed I was well, first off, to watch myself on TV doing this, that was tough enough.
Yeah, right.
But to go up to my friends that were there and say, okay, man, listen, man, I think I was abducted. Did I act straight? This is what happened. And, now they handled it okay, but they all said the same thing. I wasn't acting strange. I didn't do anything, and there was nothing abnormal going on. And so it makes me stop and think, how much of this happens where people around you don't know?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And also there's a time dilation thing.
Yeah.
What seems like a couple hours on this craft to here on Earth, right? To the people around you, it's a half a second. It's a nanosecond. So they wouldn't know. But to you, it's a complete experience, like what happened to me.
Yeah, well, in some of these cases, it was actually a lifetime, but for somebody else, it was an hour. So I kind of struggled with that, but it's I can kind of understand it. That kind of brings to mind Dolores Cannon. I saw her video of her the other day, and she was talking about she accidentally got in contact with Nostradamus, and Nostradamus she reinterpreted all of his quatrains, all of them, because he said that they're not accurate now. So, but he said, "I'm as alive as you are. Time, there's no future, there's no past, there's no present. It's all now." So I'm trying to mull that over and go, yeah, well, okay, that's kind of spontaneous thing, our brains can't comprehend, at least not us on Earth. But it's so what if all this stuff, when we kick off and get on the other side and look back at this stuff, we go, oh my God, if I'd have known that, then.
Yeah, you bring up such a good point. And when I asked people about the details of their experience or what they saw, and because we all want the sensational part, right? So what did you see? What did it feel like? What did it smell like? Did you get probed? You want all this, what was the inside of the ship like? What did you say? And I sometimes I get frustrated when I don't get the fantastical details out of somebody. And then my own experience is lacking of all of the details that I ask of other people. The inside of the ship, I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it was black walls. It wasn't like there was artwork or windows. There was no windows. There was, now, what I saw, and I try to remember exactly everything in detail, right? But the details are just as mundane as if you're walking through an office of cubicles. What do you remember from that? It's just a mundane office with it was kind of like that. That's the way my memory is. It wasn't special to me. Right? I didn't see anything that stood out like I went, whoa. No, it didn't have that for me. It's strange. Then again, I don't think it is strange. Right?
Yeah. Well, that's why I really made a great effort to teach remote viewing, probably 5 or 10 million people, but only a couple. It just didn't. My experience doesn't work like other people's do, because I was born with a remote viewing ability. So I've tried to teach my ability, and the only reason it worked with Maureen St. Germain and me is we combined. Maureen did the military thing, and I did the Tom Dongo thing. So combining it worked. But for me to teach how I do it, and it hasn't really worked. So I don't really know why. And I've said it in detail so people would get it, But only 1 or 2 people have said, "Yeah, I got it. I'm doing it." So I thought, well, good. At least 2 people.
What do you Tom, when you remote view, how fine of detail are you able to see?
Oh, good question. Excellent question. Yes, sometimes it can be you're actually there. And I tell people, be careful, because when you get to be a good remote viewer, you'll be stunned, because you'll actually be there. Because I've done it. I can, if we had another hour, I could. But I've done it, and you're actually there. And when that happens, don't get freaked out. Just look around. Look around. Is it snowing? Is it raining? Can you smell flowers? And is there a new red tractor in the yard? Don't get freaked out, because it's scary. It's really scary. Otherwise, it's opaque. It's just kind of like fuzzy, probably like a ghost sees. But and the thing that it doesn't happen to me anymore, but the spontaneous stuff used to scare the hell out of me. I'd suddenly be in a murder. People being, somebody being murdered. Now that's happened. I've been, drawn into a murder. It just, simultaneous. I was just, boom. I was there. It's really freaky.
Yeah, not cool. Not cool.
And I've saw.
Are you able to pull out if you need to pull out?
Yeah, good question.
I'll give you an example of that. We're almost out of time.
Yeah, I know.
I was doing a ghost investigation on TV, and during this session, during this broadcast, we were doing an Estes session, and this was at a police station, and I was asking the questions along with Susan Slaughter. She was asking questions of the person that was, doing the ST session. Mm-hmm. And that ST session turned dark on us. Suddenly she's talking about being tied up in the trunk of a car and being driven to a lake. And you know what? I turned to Susan, I turned to the director, and I said, "Session over."
Yeah.
I don't want to know what's next. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Always cut off. Right. Don't continue with it. If it gets really bad, really negative,
right.
Stop it. Yeah. Can I do a quick commercial, Jimmy? for my
Yeah,
book?
yeah. Whatever you want, Tom.
Yeah.
What do you got?
So all my books now are on Amazon. My 8 books, and everybody buy this one. This is merging dimensions is my okay, was it? So anyway, Merging Dimensions is my bestseller. That's kind of my bread and butter. Merging Dimensions. It's all about the Bradshaw Ranch, and it's merging.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Anyway, all right.
Now we've got the links up for Tom Dongo.
Good. No, my website doesn't work anymore, so I've got it. My friend that set that up, he died suddenly about 6 months ago. I haven't had a chance to do anything with it, but it's not pertinent now. It's I've got to delete it or do something with it. But my website's no good. Well,
I've got the links up for it. So.
Yeah, okay. It's okay. It's just. But yeah, so
but everybody can go to Amazon and search Tom Dongo, and all of your 8 books pop up right there.
Yeah. If anybody really needs to get in touch with me, you can do it through Facebook.
We've got that up too as well, and in the chat we've got the links up for Amazon and Merging Dimensions right there. Good. Is up in the chat room, and it's up there forever now, Tom. Tom, I'm going to see you in a couple of months out there in Sedona. Looking forward to it, and let's go and find them aliens together, my friend.
Yeah. We'll get vaporized together, huh? You go for it.
That's the goal. You know what? If it happens, first off, if it happens, it happens. But I wouldn't fight it. I wouldn't fight it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you don't want to worry about it. It's not going to do you any good to worry about it.
Well, you and I have lived long enough now. Yeah. You know what? Let's go out with a bang. You know. Yeah.
Me too. You know, I'm going to be 80 in a couple of months. So I mean, I've been there, done that. So I've lived good. So I mean, so it's.
You look great though, man.
Not too bad for a guy almost 80, right?
You look amazing. Tom, I'll see you this March, man. Thank you so much, my friend. Yeah. Behave and be well. Everybody, the links are up for Amazon, Merging Dimensions, Tom Dongo on Amazon. Go get all of his books. I have them. Tom, behave and be well, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Perfect night. Tom Dongo, everybody. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, and tomorrow night, we've got a new film out. It is called Alien Experiencers. So we're going to be doing that tomorrow night, and everybody hang around for that. And I just have one thing to say before we have Sharon Comorn on tomorrow night, and that is go Berkeley Tappy. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go Berkeley Tappy.